There was one man Robert Mugabe feared the most, and he was not some white European man who was going to take everything he had fought for. No, this was a man of many talents, a man of focus, commitment, a people's leader. His name, Morgan Tsvangirai.
As a country, we face a generational transition. Vana vesa vari below 35, they are crying out for help. The country is in a mess. We know we are inheriting a mess. We know this country has been left with nothing.
Morgan Tsvangirai was born in a special time when Zimbabwe was still under colonial rule. He saw how the Rhodesian government would use different tactics to maintain power. And as the violence worsened, people became more defiant. They wanted change. Born into a poor family, Morgan Tsvangirai couldn't afford to join the war. He had to stay behind and help support his family.
He was Secretary General of the Zimbabwean Congress of Trade Unions, and through that process, I think, really cemented himself as a civil society leader. Trade unionists are the first to be beaten, are the first to be arrested, and I think that actually really prepared him to be able to stay the course that he's been able to stay in Zimbabwe.
So Morgan Tsvangirai became a trade union activist. He organized and fought the injustices and the discriminatory policies black people faced at the time. In his words, not everyone needed to be on the battlefield to contribute to the liberation cause. I felt that my efforts in the labor movement could make a significant impact, providing a different but equally important form of resistance against the oppression we faced. In 1980, Zimbabwe was born. Morgan, like many others, celebrated the country's independence. It marked the end of a long and brutal struggle against colonial rule and the beginning of majority rule. Despite the initial optimism, Morgan Tsvangirai became increasingly disillusioned with Robert Mugabe and the ZANU-PF government.
People are not blaming the government for the drought. No, not really. But they are blaming them for not planning for it, for not managing it, for not foreseeing it, and for not dealing with it with the agency it deserves. And for lying to people that there was enough stocks of food available. I mean, people don't forgive them. People are not going to forgive them for that.
He criticized the government authoritarian tendencies, the corruption, the economic mismanagement. He believed that Robert Mugabe and ZANU-PF have betrayed the very same thing they fought for, which was independence and the empowerment of the black people.
I think the people of this country want change because Mugabe's government has betrayed the very revolution that he was leading. It is his government that has amassed wealth to the small ruling elite, that have destroyed the economy and the future of this country, that has created conditions for mass unemployment and destruction of the only economic infrastructure that was there. He is the one which has created insecurity and lack of confidence in this economy. So who has betrayed the interests of Zimbabweans other than him?
His journey into politics was not really a choice, but a necessity. Morgan Tsvangirai believed that true independence could only be achieved by genuine democracy, respect for human rights, good governance, and he felt that this is something that Robert Mugabe had completely failed to deliver.
As a country, we face a generational transition. Vana vesa vari below 35, they are crying out for help. The country is in a mess. We know we are inheriting a mess. We know this country has been left with nothing.
Morgan's path was not easy. He faced persecution, intimidation, and even imprisonment for daring to challenge Robert Mugabe and the ZANU-PF government. In 2008, something incredible happened. Despite the rigging, the corruption, the intimidation, Morgan Tsvangirai actually won the presidential elections.
He lost the election. So, as far as we are concerned, the majority of Zimbabweans have said Mugabe must find a way to retire. We want a peaceful transfer of power. And that's what the whole agenda is. This whole struggle is about crafting a peaceful transfer of power.
But Robert Mugabe and ZANU-PF refused to let go of power.
3 times he actually made it known to his handlers that he wanted to hand over to Morgan Tsvangirai. But 3 times they restrained him. They asked him not to. They told him they would fix things.
In the weeks following the elections, political leaders, activists, and civilians were abducted, tortured, and many were killed. Feeling cornered, Mugabe then pleaded with his allies, the SADC regions, to help him maintain power or save face, which they obliged. In February 2009, an agreement was reached, fostered by SADC led by then South African President Thabo Mbeki, which meant that Robert Mugabe would remain president but would share power with Morgan Tsvangirai as his prime minister. So there's 2 great titans signed the deal.
I, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, do hereby call upon you, Morgan Richard Tsvangirai, to take the oaths as prescribed by law.
I, Morgan Richard Tsvangirai, do swear.
And a unity government was formed. Morgan Tsvangirai then led Zimbabwe through a time which many were quite happy with. The economy bounced back from the terrible hyperinflation, and international relations improved. Battered and worn down, Robert Mugabe was not going to lose the next election. He campaigned, he promised, and he spoke to the souls and the spirit of the people. And again, they believed him. They believed that he is going to do right. He is going to empower them. He is going to create a government that is very competent, that is going to bring glory to the Zimbabwean people. While Morgan's party was slowly losing steam due to internal divisions, some people within his party felt that Morgan was becoming the very thing he wanted to change. With those internal conflicts, Morgan Tsvangirai lost the election. He fought but came short.
Zimbabweans, we have been so resilient. Maramba kudzvanyirirwa. The struggle continues. The struggle continues until final victory. The struggle continues in the township, in the villages, in the streets, everywhere in Zimbabwe.
If you enjoy this content, comment, share, subscribe, and the next one will probably be interesting as well. Cheers. Bye.